Retired four-star General Jack Keane. He's chairman of the Institute for the Study of War and a Fox News senior strategic analyst. Sir, take a listen to what the Prime Minister of Israel did this week when he gave a speech about Iran's influence.
Here's a piece of that Iranian drone, or what's left of it after we shot it down. I brought it here so you can see it for yourself. Mr. Zarif, do you recognize this? You should. It's yours. You can take back with you a message to the tyrants of Tehran. Do not test Israel's resolve.
General Keane, Iran has been trying to expand its influence in the region, being quite successful. How do you see things right now?
No, absolutely. And don't we all appreciate Prime Minister Netanyahu speaking so directly, unequivocally, and calling out this malign behavior that the Iranians are up to. Listen, that Prime Minister predicted years ago, before the nuclear deal was finalized in the summer of 2015, that Iran would get a windfall of sanction relief money in excess of $100 billion, that they would not become a responsible nation in the region, which was the goal of the United States and the other allies who entered the deal. He predicted and forecasted that what Iran will do is they will increase and aggressively increase their malign behavior. That is what we are seeing now. They brought the Russians into Syria. They run the war in Syria. It is a human catastrophe that's taken place there. They are now encroaching on Israel. They put 160,000 rockets and missiles, Dana, into Lebanon. They want to put similar numbers of missiles into Syria to be able to fire them at Israel. This has been their intent all along. They started the civil war in Yemen 3 years ago, and it's now the world's #1 human catastrophe. This is the malign behavior of the Iranians, and we've got to stand up to it.
Well, and what about that, sir? Because when Conor Powell was just giving his report, he was talking about this disagreement amongst the world's leaders about what to do here. What do you think the United States should be doing? Or is it incumbent upon the Arab nations to get together and do something?
Well, the Sunni Arabs absolutely see the Iranian threat as their #1 strategic threat. It's the reason why their relationship with Israel has never been closer. I think it's time for the United States to step in, follow up to what President Trump did in Riyadh a number of months ago on his first overseas trip, and actually begin to put together a multinational political and military alliance like NATO, an Arab NATO, if you will. Why? That political and military alliance was so successful in standing up against the malign and aggressive behavior of the Soviet Union. It actually helped to break, not by itself, the Soviet Union's back. We've got to get organized against the Iranians. They now have a political and military alliance with the Russians. We've got to recognize what's happening. Right. They are gaining, and we are losing in the Middle East.
Can I just take you to one other part of the world in the limited time we have left, and that is China's growing presence, not just in the South China Sea, which we have been talking about, but now, even because of this One Belt, One Road initiative and the financial incentives that have these countries from all the way from Djibouti up into India, basically being, I don't want to say blackmailed by the Chinese, but they are running into some very serious geopolitical problems there because of this idea.
Yeah, the Chinese have reset the strategic framework in the Pacific by grinding down the relationship between our allies and the United States, replacing us as the dominant power in the Pacific. That's the road that they're on. They want to do the same thing with the Indians. And they don't target directly on India like they didn't target on the United States. They target on India's allies. And they're bringing their ships into the Indian Ocean on a regular basis. The One Belt, One Road initiative, for our viewers to understand, is a major investment strategy in energy and infrastructure stretching from China through southern Asia into the Middle East and up into Eastern Europe. Why? Because they want to have geopolitical influence as a result of that economic influence. And they want to weaken India, who is a major power in the region, just like they want to weaken the United States. China actually has stated out front in recent weeks that they want to replace the United States as the preeminent global power in the world. They see us as a declining power, and they see themselves as a rising power. The
Should we be
national
doing
security
anything?
strategy of the United States has identified China as the long-term strategic threat the United States is facing in the world.
And are we prepared to deal with that threat?
We're getting there. First of all, I think what this administration, Dana, has done is they look at the world the way it really is. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, radical Islam. These are our adversaries in the world. These are the people that are killing others unnecessarily. These are the people who are working against our allies and U.S. national interests. Now we have to put the strategy together to deal with it. The step one is identifying that threat. Step two is good strategic plans to work against it.
All right. General Jack Keane, thank you.